Hey, everybody, welcome back to another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show, where we make it our business and our priority to help you take dominion over your money and your life. Thank you for tuning in to another great show. We know that you could be listening elsewhere, you could be watching in other places, but you're here with us. And for that, we are grateful. Do us a favor, if you haven't already done so and you're listening to the podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Let everybody know that this is a show that they should be rocking with too. And if you do that, we would greatly appreciate it. We love reading your reviews. It helps us to stay encouraged and let us know that we are being effective at the job that we are attempting to do. We are excited about today's episode because, this is His and Her Money, and we love to strengthen your finances. And we also love to strengthen your relationship. For those of you all that are in relationships, money is a topic that needs to be discussed, but not as easily navigated. It's not an easy topic to discuss, even though it's an important topic to discuss. And so we love to bring on experts to help you all navigate those, because those conversations are necessary. And so we're going to be talking with none other than Adam Cole, who is the couple's financial coach. He is here to spread his wisdom and knowledge for all of us to be able to grow and get better. So let me not delay this any further. Let's get Adam on so we can hear his wisdom on the matter. Hey, Adam, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hi, Talat. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Been following you all's work for a long time, and it's joy to be here sharing with the audience.
Oh, man, we're excited, man. You've been doing a great work for a while now, helping a lot of people, a lot of couples get their money situation together. But some people are being introduced to you for the first time right here and right now. So for them, can you say hello and then let them know what you are all about?
Well, hello. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Uh, as Talat said, I am the couple's financial coach, and my work is exclusively around helping couples who love each other make sure that the money conversation does not get in the way of an otherwise great relationship, partnership, marriage. And as I'm sure you know, if you listen to the show, it's money is one of the top stressors. It's one of the top causes of divorce. And there isn't a ton of content out there that marries, pun intended, the worlds of relationship and money. And in fact, your book was one of the earliest versions of something out there that's like, hey, here's how to actually approach the topic in a healthy way. And that was one of those things about now 4.5 years ago when I was thinking, hey, maybe I'll look into doing this work with couples because of my background. Your book was one of the first ones I came across. I ordered a bunch off of Amazon. Yours was the first I read, I believe, because it's smaller, it's thinner, so it's less intimidating. But basically, my background is I've worked in financial advising. I studied economics as an undergrad and went to law school and have a master's in tax law. And so I bring all of that, but on the more human side, I'm an experienced coach. I'm a certified mediator. And it was back then, around when I picked up your book, that I said, this is a huge need. There are very few people focusing on this, very few YouTube channels, podcasts, books. Yours were amongst really probably less than 10 at that time in each of those categories focusing on this. And I said, okay, my background is coach, mediator, former advisor, tax, all this stuff. I said, I think I can make a difference here, and got to work trying to figure out how to apply my skills. And now here we are, I'll be coming up on 5 years, and it's been a beautiful journey. I love doing this work, helping couples get clear on where they're at and where they're heading financially, and doing it in a way that builds intimacy, builds resonance, brings them closer together.
So why is it so important that couples do work, put in the effort to get on the same page financially? Because we're in a culture where, our name is His and Her Money. That's not what it actually means, but that's more of the norm. You have your thing, and you got your thing, and we can kind of negotiate and navigate in certain areas, and in other areas, we're just on our own. It's become more common to be of that mindset than not, and you end up building these two worlds in a lot of instances inside one relationship. So why is it important that couples actually be intentional about how they approach their finances together?
So many reasons. I mean, first thing is just Google top relationship stressors or top causes of divorce, right? And you'll see money is up there. And what that should indicate is that, okay, as a society, what we're doing, something about it, it's not necessarily doing the job, right? Maybe it's better than it could be, but there's certainly a lot of room for improvement there. But there's a number of other aspects. Money is in all aspects of our lives. You think about decisions about which careers to pursue, which jobs to take, education, those have huge financial implications. Whether one parent or both could be a stay at home when you retire, uh, even day to day, you're spending money. Many of us, 40 plus hours a week, are working to earn money. It's like it is everywhere, right? And if it's something where you are not working as a team, you're not comfortable connecting and talking about it, it can be all these, sometimes they're little stresses, but they can really add up. And usually they lead to either a pretty serious explosion, a blow up, a bombshell of sorts, and or just somebody holds on to so much that eventually it's easy for frustration and even resentment and even anger to creep in. And those unfortunately are really bad for our relationships, right? But on the other hand, what I've seen and what I fully believe in time and again is if you and your significant other can communicate about this stuff openly, you feel safe, there's a sense of trust. Wow, it's actually a beautiful thing. I mean, my clients all the time, yes, their finances improve, but they're showing up differently in the world as individuals and as a couple. Their relationship ascends to a new height. Uh, sometimes they're in a lot of conflict and we get them to a healthy place, and sometimes they're in a pretty good place, but money's just a challenge. And then I'm going to help you get to that next level because there's always room for us to grow in all aspects, right? No matter where we're at.
So you sat down with a bunch of couples and helped them on their journeys. Are there some common things that you see are the initial problem that you got to plow your way through in order for them to find progress in this area?
Yeah, first is having both partners open to the conversation. And kind of a 1A with that is recognizing that even if my finances personally are good, but my significant others aren't good or they don't feel good, right? It's still a we problem, right? Even if I think mine is good, uh, and even if they are good, right, by some objective measure, yeah, you're doing great. Someone can tell you you're on track for all your goals. But if your spouse, your partner feels super anxious and they are afraid to talk to you about money, I don't have to tell you that that's an issue. I like to ask it like, okay, so you got your current dynamic, right? You're happy with where your numbers are at, but your significant other feels this certain way, and the two of you, when it comes to talking about money, it doesn't go so great. Imagine this continues for 6 months, 3 years, 10 years. In what ways, good or bad, will that affect your relationship, right? And your quality of life. And I think when people sit with that, they see, yeah, you know what, it's probably, at the very least, it's not a good thing, and it might even be something that could be troubling. And so that is the first theme, is acknowledging that this is a tough issue and that even if you're able to pay your bills, even if you've got an 800 credit score, even if you're maxing out your 401k, there may still be room to grow in this space and around what I call financial intimacy. Now, if you're struggling with the communication and also you recognize your finances are not as good as they could be, right? Now we've got two very important motivations to do some work in this area. So just recognizing that, acknowledging that, and being willing to come to the table, whether it's for a consultation with a professional or even just a conversation over a glass of wine or lemonade, whatever you and your partner like to drink, right? That first step, just be willing to come to the table and be open to a conversation. That is where a lot of couples get stopped, and there's nothing to lose there, right? So just I invite you to take that step if it's something you've been avoiding.
Now, what would you say to the person listening who is like for it, but they're married to someone who doesn't really like having conversations about money? Do you have any tips or advice on how to approach a significant other who is less than excited to talk about their finances?
Right. And this is an extremely common case, right? And I think a lot of your listeners, there are couples who listen together, but there's a lot of people who listen and really want to teach their spouse, their partner this stuff, and they're excited. And, they have that experience that their partner is kind of like, what? Or I don't want to hear this, or I don't get it, right? And that's tough. That can really it can kill your vibe. You're like all excited, you're getting all these ideas from the McNeelys. You're like, we're gonna crush it, and then oof, you get deflated. uh, the number one tip I have there, and there's more I can say about this, but usually what you're going to want to do is frame the request, like to have a conversation, frame it in terms of the big bold beautiful vision you have for your life with this person, right? So what I mean is, you know what? I am totally crazy about you, and I like love everything that's on our bucket list, and I want us to be able to do as much of that as possible, or I want us to be able to give our kids everything we want to, everything we did have, or everything we didn't have growing up, right? Framing it in terms of that. And I'll tell you why this is a really important thing. We're human beings. We tend to have default ways of being, and we default to them, right? Like the paths in our brain, they're well established. That's the path we take, the least energy. And a lot of times, the kinds of people who are listening to a podcast like this, of course, there's going to be a variety of people, right? But if you are the kind of person who is more cautious and you want to be really thoughtful and careful with your finances, and you're also in part doing that because you're worried about what could go wrong, right? It's very easy for you to come from that point of view when you talk to your partner. Hey, I want to make sure we don't mess up, or I'm afraid we're going to have credit card debt or bankruptcy. But here's the thing, we usually find someone who energetically, personality wise, is complementary to us. And so if we're the person who's like, we got to make sure we avoid the chaos or the really bad thing, usually we're partnered with somebody who's like, it's all good. We're going to figure it out. Everything's going to be fine. We got to enjoy life today too. Right. And so that can be a beautiful balance. But how do you appeal to them? You step outside of your worries, concerns, fears, anxieties, and think about, okay, well, if we actually got together, felt safe talking about money, had clarity on where our money's going and what we've got and where we're trying to get to, and we're working as a team, what would that allow? What kind of difference would that make? Right? What would that make possible in our lives, our relationship? And then you go sell that to them, right? I want you to be able to be free. I want to have such a like kick butt financial situation that if your boss keeps doing what they've been doing, you're free to say, you know what, I'm out, right? And we've got enough money there where you can do that for 6, 8 months, right? Or whatever the case may be, whatever matters to you. Um, now you're speaking their language, right? Um, find a way to speak their language, frame it in positive terms, and just invite them, right? It's you don't know all the answers, they don't know all the answers. So much of it has to be discovered. They're just like, I want to live our best lives together. I think money is an important piece of that. Can we sit down, have a conversation? When's a good time?
Nice. Now, as we get through to our significant other and maybe they start to see the light of day, like, all right, okay. So now the question becomes, what should we be talking about? If this is a new thing, right? We know we need to talk about money. We know we're not on the same page. We know we want to get on the same page about our money. We finally are both willing to sit down and talk about our money. So, Adam, what are some of the things we should be talking about?
Terrific question. Uh, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I see couples make here. They finally decide they're going to talk about money, and they go straight to the numbers. They go straight to a budget or the budget. They go straight to, you know, YouTube TV premium, whatever, versus Hulu live TV, and they're trying to make these decisions, or should we grocery shop organic or not? Should we get the meal order? The problem there is twofold. Number one, you don't have any context. You're you're just kind of making one-off decisions versus the context of where are we at financially? What are our financial goals, right? And then you can start to understand, oh, well, here are some of the things involved with this particular question or trade-off, right, between option A and option B. Is it worth the savings? Because if we save, we can achieve this goal faster. Or it's not going to make a huge difference in our timeline, but it really improves our quality of life today. So let's go with that option, right? You need to have that context. Don't jump straight to those decisions. Uh, this, the second reason that you don't want to go straight to the numbers is because if you're like most couples, there's not a real sense of trust, safety, comfort talking about this topic together. And so, what I actually recommend and what I have all my clients do as well, the first conversation, it's nothing to do with numbers. It's actually just talk to me about your relationship with money, your history with money. What did you experience growing up? Social and cultural norms, expectations, and stereotypes, and how they influenced you or not. Anything's related to gender, religion, right? And then a very important one is past relationships. I have clients all the time where they realize part of it is okay. Yeah, I had an ex who took advantage of me financially, and so I'm very guarded now, right? And there's something to work through there. So the first step would be don't go straight to the numbers, right? Try and build first a sense of comfort talking about this topic. And like I said, the easiest way there is to just share with each other what was money like growing up, past relationships, in terms of your identity, your culture, where you grew up, how you grew up, and conversations like that with no particular agenda, just to share and to listen and understand each other better, right? And then once you've finished with that, then you can really start digging into the numbers. I don't want to say finished with that. There's never an end to it, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But once you're starting to build that sense of comfort talking about money, okay, now let's start looking at the numbers and build that foundation and understand the context in which we are operating so that we can start making some of these decisions about YouTube versus Hulu. But we know why we're making them and we have context, right? And it makes sense. It's not just guesswork, right? It's actually grounded in what matters to us and what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And I know that, in the work that we do, and I'm sure you've experienced in the work that you do, getting couples to this point is a good thing. But that first attempt doesn't always go well. Emotions come up. People start to feel a certain way, maybe even feel attacked. Like, what you mean? You know what I mean? And it can get heated to the point that the conversation doesn't get finished, or, it just doesn't go well. So
Yep.
if a couple goes and attempts and they experience the conversation kind of going left, what we don't want is for it to get reburied again because it didn't go so well. So how do we
Yep.
rebound, recover, retry if that initial conversation doesn't go smoothly?
You know, it does happen a lot. And the you just got to go back. You got to go back to the table again. There's no real way around it. I wish I had like a magic potion or fairy dust to sprinkle. You got to try again. You got to be willing to set aside your judgments and willing to explore and take responsibility for uh, the kind of stuff that you're bringing to the table, because we all bring stuff to the table, especially around money. All of us, each of us has baggage, right? And acknowledging that, hey, um, maybe I overreacted about this, or I got really sensitive about that. Uh, I also feel like I'm not sure we really understood each other about this other thing. You just gotta bring that faith, that courage, whatever it is that binds the two of you, right? The same this is one of the funny things, Tala, is that people are like, oh, they treat money as if it's like this strange thing, this weird alien foreign object that is somehow completely different than anything else in our relationship. Well, okay, let's say you and your spouse want to buy a home and you're trying to talk about what kind of home you want, where you want it to be, and how much you're willing to spend, right? And that first conversation does not go well. And you're just like, it's just not fun. What are you going to do? Well, you try again, right? You try again, you take a deep breath, try and resolve anything from the last, deal with any hurts, heal them where you can, but just in earnest, try and keep moving forward, right? Give each other grace, uh, continue to focus on treating each other with respect, and try again. But this is also why I am a huge proponent of those, that at least one conversation, but maybe even the first few, just being to share about your experiences. And it's not about making decisions, it's about just getting to understand yourself and each other better. And believe it or not, so the idea there is there's nothing really to argue about if you're not trying to make any decisions, at least we hope. And then you don't underestimate, for everybody out there, the importance of one singular conversation about money that doesn't end in a fight. It kind of shocked me, but I've seen this a lot, but it happens all the time with my clients. Just having that one conversation, they went from like 0%, 1% faith to like, they're like up to around maybe like 60, 65, 70%. And that is actually enough to get you through a lot of this. So even though they didn't actually do anything other than just share their own experiences in that conversation, so it almost seems to function a little bit like a hack. I'm not a fan of that term per se, but it's like a little kind of, we don't even have to argue. We could just share about how my parents handle money, and along the way, it's such a cool opportunity to open up and learn more about each
Mhm.
other.
So now, we're in a new world now. Our whole world got turned upside down with the pandemic, and just life is just different. The world is different. The opportunities are different. So how are you instructing your clients as couples, as units, or even as individual single people to think about their finances in this post pandemic world?
Yeah, I mean, the world has certainly changed. Uh, Truthfully, the fundamentals of what I walk my clients through and what I write about and podcast about and create content about, the fundamentals are pretty much the same, and I'll explain why. Um, my work as a coach, it's typically not prescriptive, like this is the way you need to do it or this is the approach to take, right? You need to use the envelope method or zero-based budgeting or this app or that app. It's more about helping support and provoke the conversations that are going to help you make those decisions as a couple, right? Because you're not going to have me there every day of your life. What I need to do is give you the tools and foundations and skills so that you can be making these decisions on your own moving forward as life happens. And so for me, how that works is I'm teaching those same kind of fundamentals. Like, it's not there's a pandemic, so you should have more money in your emergency fund, right? It's okay, here's what an emergency fund is, and here's some ways to think about it and some questions to ask yourself. Now, some of the factors that are involved here might be uh, you might want to have more money in your emergency fund if your income and your job is less secure. You might want to have more money in your emergency fund if there are lingering or chronic health issues that you might need to have some money for. Okay, so COVID may have very well have influenced those things, right? Maybe you don't feel as secure in your job now. Maybe somebody, God forbid, in your family has long COVID symptoms. Okay, so you could say because of the pandemic now we're wanting to have more money in the emergency fund, but it's still really about a holistic assessment of everything that's going on in your life, the risks, the things that are more secure and certain, and how can we look at that as a whole, right? And figure out not only the numbers aspect, but how each of us feels about it, and then make a decision from there, right? But there's no doubt that job security, career satisfaction, commute times, uh, the possibility of having somebody get sick and be out of commission for a while, all of those things have very much zoomed in to really close up, and we're really thinking a lot about them now. And so, those definitely are a bigger part of the conversations that we're having, including that entrepreneurship one. Hey, how can we set ourselves up so that we can, that one or both of us can try a business venture so that, we don't have to necessarily go to that office anymore, right? Or at least we can have enough capital to start it as a side hustle and see where it goes. Those conversations are definitely happening a lot more, and I welcome it.
Now, what about the person that's dating? They may be wondering, that's good marriage advice, but like at what point in the dating process should I be paying attention to financial cues or even conversating about financial topics? What's your advice for them?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't say that I'm a dating expert. Uh, I've done dating in my time. I'm actually now engaged to a wonderful woman who works in finance, keeps me on my toes too. And we've talked about money from day one, but the reason why we're both comfortable with it, but also we both knew when we met what we were looking for. So I think that what you talk about and when you talk about it is going to be correlated with where are you in your life, how, what kind of relationship are you searching for, right? How soon would you want to get to a level of commitment if the relationship works out, where you might be living together, or married, and possibly then sharing finances in some way. So, it's like you're in your early 20s, you don't have any interest in getting married, you're just dating casually. If you want to talk about it because you think it's interesting, okay, great, right? But then where I was like mid 30s, looking to find someone to build a life with and have a family with, yeah, I wanted to get a sense of how they think about money early on because this matters, right? Um, and I think you can pay attention to different cues, but I'm a fan of just like, I'm not trying to get cute. I'm not trying to play a game. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to put any pressure on you, but I really like you. And I think we're both looking for something serious. You know, I love to just get some thoughts about like financial stuff, see how we think about it, like just another area to see if we're compatible, right? But I will encourage people when they're doing that, if you talk and you feel like you're compatible, awesome. If you talk and you're afraid you might not be, I would say pause there and do some reflection, because we tend to attract people who, like I said earlier, are complementary to us. But a lot of times that feels like different mindsets on money. Here's the thing though, the person who's very systematic and careful and a little anxious about their money and has everything down to the penny, they have a lot they can teach the person who like would rather avoid it and just wants to enjoy life today. But the person who also is good at enjoying life and their money today, they also have something to teach the other person, right? To just, okay, live life. I mean, I remember with my fiance, it was like, she's done so much for me in this regard where, even paying $55 a month to Massage Envy, and I don't have any like affiliate relationship with them or anything, but, like $55 a month to be able to get a massage each month for the membership. And it was always like, well, I don't need that. It's wasteful. I don't have to, whatever. And then I realized, like, you know what? Actually, that does fit in, and I can enjoy this, right? And it's one of our favorite pastimes on a Friday evening. Go get our massage, relax, hang out, uh, and that's a beautiful thing. So you have things to teach each other, and you just really want to let that in. And I think I lost track of what your question was. If you want to remind me, if you remember.
No, you're right on point. I was asking
Okay.
you about when you are dating, and some of the things that you should consider as you're going through the dating process from a financial standpoint, what you should be paying attention to, and even
Yes.
how and when do you approach the conversation. How do you know when it's time to say, you know what, let's talk about this money, let me figure out where we stand.
Yes, I love it. And thank you for the reminder. And right, so even if there's things that don't look similar, that doesn't mean it's a problem. It could still be compatible in a complementary way. So I would say don't like overextend that. I mean, like any other area of life or relationships, there can be deal breakers, right? But just because it's different doesn't mean that it's bad. Now, on the dating side, I like to say, you know, whatever is proportional to where you're at in the relationship. Uh, if you're just casually dating, okay, maybe the choices you make aren't influencing each other too much. But even if you're at a point where you're going on vacations together, even if you're not living together, you could go on a trip that costs about 500-600 bucks for the two of you. You could go on that costs 5-6 grand, and Lord knows you can go on one that costs a whole lot more than that, right? If you really want to. So at that point, when you are doing things together where it's going to influence your finances, the decisions you're making, I think at the very least you want to be talking about that. Hey, this is my budget for vacations this year, right? What's yours? How do we want to think about that? At least start there. And every one of these conversations you have, it's helpful information for you to see how you two, how well you can meld together, how well you can see each other's point of view, and learn from each other and grow as a team.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Now you've helped so many couples get to a better place. We talked about some commonalities that we saw on the front end where you knew you were going to have to plow through it to get them to a good place. I want to know, are there some common things that you saw in the couples that just knocked it out the park? Because I'm sure a lot of people listening want to make sure that they knock it out the park. So if there are some, can you share those? So maybe give us some point or some things that we can aspire to do on this journey.
Yeah. Uh, you know, at the risk of being a little bit broken recordy about it, I would say those 2 points that I stress are the key foundation. Just communicating about it and building that sense of trust and safety. That is first and foremost. You know, I could create for you a financial plan and, let you go to the greatest advisor on the planet and they give you the most beautiful financial plan and in a leather bound book. And if you two don't feel like you're working on it as a team and don't feel you can come to each other, that thing might make life worse, right? Because one of you's like, well, you're not doing what the advisor said. And they use it kind of like to whack you over the head, metaphorically, of course, with it, right? Okay, that's not good. Build that sense of trust and safety. Now, no matter what life brings, no matter what our finances bring, no matter what this relationship brings, we can work on it and work on it as a team. I mean, shoot, that's the whole reason we get married, right? Like to be able to hang out with and do life with our best friend, the person we most enjoy and most value. Like, so let's be the same way here around money. And then the second thing is building that understanding of where you're at and where you want to go and how you're going to get there, right? That context. Because if you're making those one off, trying to make like random decisions, that's very difficult. And what I see a lot is if there's no plan and no way that you're communicating about it, all of a sudden, the one person who's got a closer eye on the finances or maybe more anxious about it, they start, kind of, they're like the little bird pecking away at the other person. And the other person starts to feel like, get off my case, or like, why are you nagging me? Leave me alone. You're being so controlling, right? That can all be avoided if you have an intentional approach, a framework, a structure, even if it's as simple as like we once a month, first Sunday of every month, we're gonna order a pizza and talk about and look at our financial stuff for an hour, right? If you have no idea where to begin, just start there. And that's what I find. These couples who are thriving, they are communicating, they are listening and working to understand each other better. They are actually willing to listen before they speak sometimes, right? Asking each other questions, but they also have a sense of the bigger picture. And then just that transparency, you know, maybe let's say you thought you were going to get a $10,000 bonus at work and it turns out it's only going to be 3,000. You might have a whole lot of feelings about it. You might feel embarrassed, you might feel guilty, whatever. Go to your spouse, go to your significant other, talk to them about it, right? Because like you said before, when things we can get bury things even deeper, and that is a tough path to go on. So just continuing to communicate with each other, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hey, I just got a raise, right? Or hey, you know what? I don't know if we need that subscription anymore. You know what? I really need that subscription now. Whatever it is, get it out there. And relatedly, the last thing would be give your partner the space to share something, just to share it. Meaning, you don't have to tell them whether you think it's a good idea, a bad idea, feasible or not feasible. Like, I'm sure for people listening, whether themselves or their partner, it would be such a load off their shoulders if they could just sit down and be like, you know what? I really wish we could save like $250,000 and I could walk the heck out of that office and never go back. Right? Like, I know that's not enough to retire, but at least enough so I can go figure something else out. Does that mean that they're quitting their job, giving their notice tomorrow? Absolutely not. Right? You should still be thoughtful, but just to be able to say that stuff, that like for many couples, if person A says that, person B, you can't do that, but the kids, but the camp, but the right, just that space where you can just say what's on your mind, and it is what it is. And frankly, that's an opportunity to understand and know your partner better, right? Um, and I'll tell you what, like for me, sometimes I got to worry that I don't get over motivated by what my fiance wants. I'm like, oh, she wants this. Oh, I better like do this, that, and the other thing. Wait, hold on. Okay, keep it all, keep the big picture in mind, you know. But truthfully, like when you open up to each other, it's like we all want to be a hero, heroine to our significant other. We all want to take care of them, right? That's we love this person. So if you can open up, tell that person what you want, now you've actually given them a chance to be supportive of you, right? If you keep it in, that's it. It is you get what you get. But if you share with them, right, always a chance to come closer together. So that's what I would say. A few different keys there, but that's what I see as common: that communication, that openness, vulnerability, sharing, and of course, clarity around the financial context of where you are and where you're going.
Awesome. Now, I know people are going to stay in touch with you, so let them know about your show and your resources you have and where they can find you on the internet.
Absolutely. And first of all, I mean, thanks so much for having me. Like I said, your book had been influential from day one. I think it was the first one I read on this topic, and it was part of what inspired me on this path. And so, folks can find me. My website is couplesfinancialcoach.com, couplesfinancialcoach.com. And then that's really where you can find all of the resources. Couplesfinancialcoach.com/quiz have a really great love and money quiz to find out your couple's money personality type and get a free tool that's specific to whichever type you end up with. Couplesfinancialcoach.com/podcast is where you'd find my podcast, which is aptly named the Couples Financial Coach Podcast. Try and keep it on brand there. And everything else, you know, for anybody who wants to connect and see if I might be able to help them level up where they're at, you can also do that through my website, whether the homepage or couplesfinancialcoach.com/schedule. So basically, that is the hub. And on Instagram and Facebook, I'm at Couples Financial Coach. And that's generally how you find me.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll be sure to have everything that Adam mentioned linked in the show notes of this episode so that you can get in touch with him very easily. Adam, as we close, man, what's your your last words of encouragement to the person listening right now who's in a relationship or even seeking a relationship and knows the importance of finances and just want to make sure that they do this thing properly, and maybe they feel a little bit less than molded about the potential to be able to do so? What would be the words of encouragement that you would offer up to them if you had a chance to talk to them?
Yeah, I would say if the approach you've been taking hasn't gotten you the result you wanted, then take a breath, take a step back, and start getting curious. How might I approach this newly? Because I promise you, I mean, I've worked with couples where when they walked in and I asked them, like, how's this going to go if nothing changes? They've been like, yeah, when the kids are up a little older, I think I'm going to walk out if nothing changes. Right? They have been even in that kind of a spot, and of course, all across the spectrum. And even that couple went from that place, verge of divorce, to best friends again, right? They had resurfaced that through these conversations. So it's possible, and these conversations can deepen your relationship, bring you closer together, and help you live the life you want to live. Just stay open, stay curious, and you know, be willing to look at yourself. This is, I kind of call this a little bit more advanced tip, but it's like, okay, in a relationship, in this relationship, what's been my role in things getting to the place they're at if it's not a great place, right? Have I, you know, tried to talk my partner's ear off the moment they walk in the door from work? Have I let resentment build instead of bringing this topic to them more often, right? See where you can take responsibility, and that may give you something to talk to your significant other about, but it also helps you see, oh, I am not powerless just because they've been not open to it so far, right? There's been some things I've been doing that don't work. Let me try something new and just keep on going at it until you get the result you want.
Nice and very well stated. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share your wisdom with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you both so much for having me.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show is in the books. Hope you took good notes, and I hope that you're ready to walk out what you learned, because don't just be hearers, but be doers there also, because that's where the power lies. That's where the change comes from, when you take good information like this and implement it. So we hope that you're ready to do just that. That's all we got for this time, guys. Remember, we got a ton of knowledge and resources just like this over at our website, hisandhermoney.com. Until next time, guys, peace.